Under the bright lights of Atlantic City, the atmosphere hummed with a blend of anticipation and uncertainty. Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker, the defensive virtuoso whose movements had long been the gold standard of boxing brilliance, stepped into the ring carrying both legacy and weight. He was preparing for the mega fight with Oscar De La Hoya, a bout that would shape the late years of his career, and this night was supposed to function as a tune-up, a demonstration of control, experience, and mastery. Instead, the moment the opening bell rang, it became clear that something far stranger was unfolding. Across from him stood Dios Bailey's Hurtado, an undefeated Cuban with an unusual style. Wide stances, odd angles, explosive single shots, and a rhythm that ignored every there to ambush a legend. As Whitaker eased forward, trying to measure distance, Hurtado uncorked a lightning-fast right hand that shot through Whitaker's guard like a blade through paper. Sweet Pea hit the canvas with a thud that seemed to freeze the arena in disbelief. Whitaker laughed as he rose, a veteran's mask, hiding a veteran's shock. But moments later, Hurtado detonated a second perfect right hand, dropping the champion again. Suddenly, the fight flipped from warm-up to nightmare. Whitaker wasn't just facing an underdog. He was navigating a minefield. Hurtado's awkward movement, unpredictable attacks, and youthful reflexes kept Whitaker guessing, off balance, and visibly uncomfortable. As the rounds unfolded, Hurtado continued to carve chaos into every exchange. He darted around the ring with frantic footwork, never staying in a predictable lane. His unorthodox timing disrupted Whitaker's rhythm, while his jab, though inconsistent, flicked just enough to create moments of hesitation. And behind it, always lurking, always threatening, was that right hand, the same weapon that had dropped Whitaker twice and could end the fight with a single mistake. Whitaker attempted to adjust, but his legs lacked the youthful spring that defined his prime. Instead of effortlessly gliding around punches, he often had to absorb them, parry them, or smother them. Hurtado wasn't outboxing him in a traditional sense. He was interrupting him, dismantling his comfort, denying him the defensive flow he relied on. Every time, and this pursuit was uncomfortable. Chasing a man who wouldn't stay still, who mixed slaps with bombs, who crouched low and exploded upward, it made the fight ugly, tense, and surreal. Yet through the chaos, Whitaker's veteran instincts flickered. He began aiming for the body. Small taps at first, then firmer shots meant to drain Hurtado's legs. Those body punches were the first signs of a long-term strategy forming amidst the disorder. But Hurtado kept finding pockets of success, landing counters, smothering Whitaker's attempts to rally, and stealing moments that echoed instability in the champion's form. For the first time in years, Whitaker looked beatable, mortal, vulnerable. And Hurtado, around the middle rounds, something began to change. Not dramatically at first, but quietly, subtly, like the first rumble of a distant storm. Whitaker, bruised and uncharacteristically frustrated, started stepping with more certainty. His jab, which had been sparse early on, returned with purpose. Every time Hurtado circled out, Whitaker cut off an angle instead of chasing shadows. And most importantly, those body shots that once drifted in as isolated attempts now came in streams. Hooks to the ribs, taps to the liver, jabs to the solar plexus. Hurtado's movements, once nimble and evasive, began showing signs of fatigue. His bicycle slowed. His legs lost elasticity. The frantic spurts of offense became less sharp and more desperate. Whitaker, style still disrupted clean exchanges. He caught Whitaker a few more times, reminding everyone that this fight was still a minefield. Yet, Whitaker's pressure had purpose now. He wasn't chasing a ghost anymore. He was walking down a fading opponent. The veteran's face, once perplexed, took on a calm determination. He began leaning on Hurtado, bullying him in the clinch, making him carry weight he no longer had energy to bear. Each jab snapped Hurtado's head back. Each body shot chipped away at the Cuban's shrinking resolve. The crowd sensed the subtle shift, the way the balance of danger tilted. Hurtado's corner sensed it too. Their fighter, once flying on adrenaline, was now trying to survive on fumes, and Sweet Pea, sensing the tide turning, transformed from cautious survivor into relentless tactician. The comeback had begun. Slowly, by the later rounds, Whitaker had fully stepped into the role of ring general. His punches carried more authority. His footwork tightened, and his confidence rebuilt itself with each exchange. The earlier knockdowns weren't haunting him now. They were fueling him. Hurtado, once unpredictable and full of chaotic energy, was visibly deteriorating. Every step he took looked heavier than the last. He no longer darted away cleanly. He stumbled, reset awkwardly, and tried to force exchanges that lacked the same snap. His wide stance, once an advantage, now left him off balance. Whitaker noticed everything. He pushed forward with educated aggression, understanding the delicate line between pressure and recklessness. The champion ripped combinations to the body, then came upstairs with sharp lefts. Hurtado's face showed swelling and fatigue, but he refused to fold. Even as his power waned, he threw defiant counters, wild, looping shots that revealed both desperation and courage. In those moments, the fight's tension peaked. Hurtado wasn't winning anymore, but he was still dangerous. One clean right hand could change everything, and Whitaker knew it. Yet instead of backing off, he intensified his assault. He smothered Hurtado's ability to set his feet, walked through the incoming arm punches, and forced the Cuban into uncomfortable corners. The crowd, which had held its breath early on, now roared with renewed confidence. Sweet Pea was turning the tide with the poise of a legend, but Hurtado, driven by pride, adrenaline, and the growing sense that the window was closing, refused to surrender. He fought back in bursts, awkward, frantic, unpredictable. His survival instincts kept him alive, but not safe. The collision between an aging great and a desperate young challenger was nearing its breaking point. Everyone watching felt it. Something explosive was about to happen. Round 11 began with the feeling of a storm ready to hit its peak. Whitaker marched out of his corner with calculated aggression, no longer concerned about awkward angles or counter rights. He sensed Hurtado breaking, not physically alone, but spiritually. Hurtado's legs were gone. His reactions were half beats late. When Whitaker jabbed, he couldn't avoid it. When Whitaker pressed into the ropes, he couldn't escape. And then it happened, the moment that defined the fight's violent climax. Whitaker unleashed a crushing left hand that snapped Hurtado's head back and sent shockwaves through the arena. Hurtado staggered violently into the ropes, barely upright. Whitaker smelled blood. He swarmed forward with a barrage of hooks and uppercuts, each one cleaner than the last. Hurtado tried to return fire, but the punches had no leverage, no balance, no hope. He was fighting on instinct alone. The referee hesitated too long, and Whitaker landed several more full power shots before the official finally intervened. The fight was stopped. The threat of upset erased. The De La Hoya fight preserved. Sweet Pea lifted his gloves, exhausted but triumphant. It wasn't his slickest win, nor was it a masterclass in defensive wizardry, but it was a testament to grit, to veteran cleverness, to heart, He had been dropped twice, pushed to the brink, confused by an unconventional opponent, and still found a way to finish the fight emphatically. Hurtado, though defeated, earned respect. He exposed vulnerabilities in Whitaker few had seen. But Whitaker proved why legends endure. They don't rely on perfection, they rely on will. And on this wild night in Atlantic City, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker proved once more that greatness isn't just about avoiding danger. It's about surviving it, conquering it, and rising above it when everything seems ready to collapse.